What the heck is neutrality then?
That, that is a good question. I think neutrality is a mantle that we don in order to protect ourselves.
Phil Phails for you.
In order to not to bow out, in order to not participate.
Sometimes in order not to participate, and sometimes in order to declare our superiority. So academics like me like to say that we're objective in order to indicate that there's some other people that haven't got it quite right. You guys, this is the idea of objectivity, haven't been trained like I have. So my voice, my words are worth somehow something special. They're laden with this special currency of objectivity. Whereas your voice, you're a non-scientist. You're not an academic. You haven't done all this studying. So your voice is not worth as much. That's one case where I'm, of course, don't think that. I think on the contrary.
But isn't that true though? An academic has trained himself to research and look at data and facts and come and synthesize, and isn't there these aren't equal?
I'm not attacking academia here. I'm just saying we love, when we describe ourselves as being objective, we do so partly in order to suggest that we're above the common fray. So this happens in two ways.
In a negative way? Because you could be like, if a mathematician, if you gave me and a mathematician a complex math problem, the mathematician is going to be above the fray with regard to this pairing.
Well, so this is complicated. So firstly, there's a question of why math. So sometimes you're
because
doing
I'm bad
math.
at math, David. Horrible at it.
Well,
I mean, I just don't do it much. Yeah.
That is a very good way of looking at it. So if you have a flexible mindset,
yeah, I could learn math if I wanted.
Improve your math. Neither of us is ever going to be winning a Fields Medal in math.
Not unless we make some swift changes now.
We have some work to do. But the fact that math is valued as, for some, it's the queen of the sciences or whatever. Okay. That valuation is not neutral. The fact that you're picking on math is significant. Why math? Why pick on math? Because that's the one that seems objective, but we've chosen to do math, if we are choosing to do math, for a reason. Namely, it's the one that seems most above the common fray.
Yeah, I chose it like that. The other one would be perhaps the king of the academia. Would that be physics?
It could be. Could be. I studied physics, so I obviously love physics.
Yeah.
But think about when bureaucrats, this comes back to what we were saying before about counting numbers of deaths. Think about when bureaucrats give you a story in terms of statistics. They justify a particular policy by saying it's efficiency, we're going to save money. Or if you look at a case like in Michigan, in Flint,
yeah,
there was a big problem with the water.
Right.
And this was another case where state government took over the management and emergency management of the local area. People were complaining about the brown toxic stuff coming out of their taps. These are guys living right near one of the largest bodies of fresh water in the world. And they're getting brown stuff coming out of their taps because the good water was being diverted elsewhere and they were being fed bad water through bad pipes. The bureaucrats who came in turned this into a bunch of numbers. It would cost this much to do this, and we've done our analyses and we've got this percentage of this toxin. That was their way of talking. The residents' way of talking, and by the way, it's a largely minority population. The residents' way of talking was, my son's being diagnosed with this
cancer or
with this problem. here's a glass of the water, look at it. Would you drink this?
Yeah.
So
They're using
here's two
academia.
ways
Yeah.
of looking at the same problem. One is a way of directly reflecting the human values and the human experience.
Yes.
The other is channeling everything through a filtration plant that turns it into pure running numbers.
Yeah.
Now, pure running numbers are not pure because actually reality was the dirty thing.
Yeah.
The clean water coming from the numbers flowing from the mouths of the bureaucrats was in fact what you get when you clean away the real problems that people were facing. So are those numbers neutral?
No.
No, they're a deflection from an unhappy, ugly reality. So I don't think numbers are pure.
Back to the academia, I kind of took us off from that. But yeah, that makes sense. It's like you're choosing what data to present.
Yeah.
And one of them makes it easier to make a choice that really impacts human beings at the experiential level and increases their suffering or continues their suffering.
Absolutely could do.
Because you say,
in this
like,
case.
bean counters said, it doesn't make any financial sense.
And the bureaucrats say only we're qualified.
That's the education part.
Yeah.
You don't understand
This
the
is
numbers.
abuse of education in order to maintain power over people. Education should be a way of understanding humanity, not avoiding it
Avoiding or controlling it.
or controlling it.
Gosh, I just, in my mind, I played a little strongman game where I said, well, is there a world where we would have to make a devastating conclusion where we didn't provide these human beings with clean water? And I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you say, like, okay, well, this city just can't have clean water because of these numbers.
That's exactly what has happened.
They probably, what do they ship in all their water in bottles?
That's exactly what they did. Despite the fact that these guys live on the edge of one of the largest bodies of fresh water in the world. The world is a funny place, huh? Yeah.
Flint, Michigan. Isn't that where Michael Moore's from? Couldn't he do something?
He's famous for looking at kind of the industrial
Yeah.
and to some extent post-industrial
Yep.
society around Flint.
He
And I
did
think you're right.
Sicko.
He's from up there. I don't know his biography, but yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, I love his films. If You Can Love, Bowling for Columbine, Sicko. He did the original one about the Ford
Right.
automotive plants. I think it's
So
but
he tends to be a polarizing figure for many.
absolutely.
And one thing he doesn't aim for, I think, is neutrality.
No.
He aims to tell people's story, for better or worse. There's no question that he brings his own biases, perspective
Absolutely.
to that job. And he probably thinks anyone who imagines that a neutral telling of what happened in Flint, Michigan would be an effective piece of film would be nuts.
Well, how could you do it?
It's not clear what it would mean, but even having it as a goal would be nuts. And no one would watch the movie if you made it.